Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings. I'm discovering new things about this camera. It can focus on my face if I wear these glasses, and it can't if I wear these ones, which is bizarre. Never mind. Here we go. Today we have another in my ever wonderfully expanding series of 5-minute reviews. The time is nearly 25 past. Here we go. Right. I have been reviewing many books. I have always tried to avoid two things. The first is I've tried to avoid books which are by friends, for the simple reason that it could be considered that I'm slightly biased. I've also tried to avoid historical books generally because I'm always worried that I might accidentally pinch someone's themes or pinch someone's plot, which is always a risk. So, this is a book where I'm not going to pinch the plot, and I don't know the bloke. It's the second book of Griff Hosker's that I've reviewed this year. The publishers are obviously madly keen for brilliant reviewers to have a look at their books, Endeavour Quill, because it's the second one of his books they've sent me. And I'm very grateful, because these are damn good. The basic premise is that there's a young Welshman in the 1200s, at the time of the battles between Simon de Montfort and King Henry and his son Prince Edward, who was going to become Prince Edward I. It's 1264. And the thing at the beginning of this is that there's a massive battle down at Lewes in the south, and Henry and the Prince Edward are both captured by Simon de Montfort. Now, Simon de Montfort has gone down in history as being one of those chaps who's fairly important, because he's the guy who really set up a parliament that was going to take much more control from the king. However, didn't all end up well for Simon de Montfort, but that's getting ahead of myself. Gerald Warbow. Gerald is the young archer, captain of archers, who's been spotted by Edward I in the first book in this series. And the books are basically the stories of the adventures of Gerald Warbow. This one starts off, as I say, with the Battle of Lewes, and immediately after the capture of the king, obviously what happened up and down the country was Simon de Montfort's forces went stomping all over the place, taking the castles and lands from the king's supporters because they could. And that was the good old days when you could do that sort of thing. Gerald remains loyal to the king, as do his band of merry men, merry archers. And this book is all about what they do in the intervening period until the Battle of Evesham. Now, what do I like about these books? I really like the fact that they're no competition to me because they're not crime, so that's good, I like that. But they're thrillers, they're modern day thrillers written in the 1260s. They are adventure stories, sort of like an old-fashioned adventure story if you think of Richard Hannay, the John Buchan books. Sort of. But they're well written, they're well researched. Endeavour has done a good job with the formatting and the composition of the books, so they're well edited. I only saw one thing that I think is a bit of an issue. It pulled me up short. That's when there was mention of the Black Death happening in the 1240s. Well, no, it was the 1340s, but you know, that's because I'm a nerd on history. And there could have been another type of plague or illness that swept around, but it wasn't called the Black Death. So, one minor issue, but the writing is light. The stories are gripping because this was a very exciting period. It's well plotted, by which I mean he knows his history generally, and the characters slot into the history really nicely. So basically, what's not to like? This is ideal as a light read that's going to give you a good feel for the period, good feel for the history. It'll introduce you to the main characters of the time. I like it, recommend it, good book. And as I say, this is not smart-ass Jex promoting a mate. Never met Griff Hosker, don't know who he is. But the books are very good. Oh, it's not my publisher either, so it's not a publisher I know. There you go. Now, if you enjoyed this, do please feel free to go down to the link at the bottom where you'll find my Patreon link. And when you have a look at that, you can join my Patreon group if you want, which means basically you'll be helping support this channel. Apart from that, if you've got any comments, stick them in the comments section. If you'd like to share this and like it and all those good things, please do. There's a subscribe button too. Hit that and you become a subscriber. That's nice. And if you do that, hit the bell button and then you'll get notified when a new video comes out. Isn't that good? Now, there's not going to be too much happening here for the next couple of weeks because, you know, there's a few things going on. However, I will be starting off in the new year with a new, okay, this is what I'm planning to do with the year video. In 2 days' time, there will be a these are the best things I've been using this year. Not necessarily new items, but things that I've found really good over the year. Also a couple of books that are useful research. You might like that. And apart from that, thanks ever so much for watching. Hope it's been interesting. You can go and buy this now. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the new year. Wow. And in the new year, I hope to do a lot more reading and get a lot more work done. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and Merry Christmas.